Dr. Brian Scott with you once again. We are continuing our study on the insight to end times. This is God's timetable. We're getting close to the end of things as we know it here on the earth. This may be hard to believe, but it's certainly coming to pass very, very quickly. We're in 2 Timothy chapter 3 because Paul told Timothy that we would be heading into perilous times in the last days. And we're in those last days. And we're certainly seeing perilous times, or exceedingly dangerous, exceedingly fierce times. In verse number 5, it says there's going to be a group of people or churches who have a form of godliness, but they have no power. We're to turn away from them. Then in verse number 6, Paul goes on to say, for of this sort, that's the godliness without power sort, they're going to creep into our households through the digital information that's available to us. I called it digital infiltration. And they're going to take captive silly women, or in the New King James, gullible women, who are loaded down with sins, and they're being led away by various lusts or diverse lusts. Now, what Paul was saying in first century Christianity back when these words were written, we're talking about the Roman Empire days, we're talking about the early days of the church. We're talking about 2,000 years ago. Things have changed a lot. And the terms he's used here would cause a lot of noise today. Probably does cause a lot of noise. But I want to try and give you some understanding so it won't be overlooked. The reference, as we said yesterday, to be led captive means that they're going to be submitted to a lot of manipulation. And they're going to be submitted to manipulation because of their mental, emotional situation they're in. The reference silly women in this verse refers to the context of the first century. It's really referring to the fact that all the women were uneducated because it was not available to them. And therefore, they were stuck at home or, for the most part, looking after the home, the children, and so on. So they were in need of encouragement. They were in need of comfort. They were in need of fellowship. So the reference silly women should not be misinterpreted. It just simply means that they needed some fellowship. They needed to be around other people. Then the reference laden with sins is not referring to all kinds of different types of sins. It's referring to the fact that they've experienced tremendous disappointment in their life, some personal failure and so on because of their state. And when we put this all together, here's what it's coming out to say to us. These ladies, these women had emotional, mental, and spiritual needs because they were opening themselves up to these religious leaders who have no power. They have a form of godliness but no power, and they're being manipulated by them. Now, this also applies to males, to men. Please don't misunderstand what we're saying here. It applies to both. But Paul was saying there's going to be a particular emphasis on the women in these perilous times. When I think in terms of television and daily broadcasting, during the day, you see a lot of programs that are talk shows. The Oprah program, the Ellen program, the Drew Barrymore program, the Kelly Clarkson program, the Dr. Phil program. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just highlighting the fact that when I quickly turn on the TV and I see these particular programs, the audiences are primarily ladies, they're women. And so I sense that Paul was on the right track here, that there's a tremendous desire to come together and receive information, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he's saying this is going to be a real problem in these end days. Not problem in this respect. They're going to be subject to manipulation. Ladies have a tremendous influence, great influence. They're great influencers. They can turn the direction of a home and a family and their man in a whole new direction. So Paul's warning us. This is going to be an area the devil attacks. I hope I've helped you. I hope I haven't shown you any form of disrespect whatsoever. I wanted to help you with this. It's a difficult verse. We got more for you as we continue tomorrow. Call you blessed. Amen.